Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time to meet tonight, Father, to do the business you've led us to do. And we ask, Lord, that you would give us your wisdom, and we ask, Lord, that you would be with those that are out serving on the streets tonight with law enforcement, EMS, and fire. And Father, we lift up Jennifer, and we continue to pray for her, Lord, and her family. In Jesus' name.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
This is a regular meeting of the Hendry County Board of County Commissioners being held Tuesday, February 13th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the City Commission Chambers in Clewiston, Florida. In attendance are Chairperson Emma Byrd, Vice Chair Mitchell Wills, Commissioner Emery Howard, Commissioner Raymond Iglesias, Commissioner Carson Turner, County Attorney Matt Rollerson, County Administrator Jennifer Davis, and Deputy Clerk Sharon Congleton.
Thank you. Welcome to Henry County Board of County Commissioners. If you have any device, we ask that you put them on silence for us, please. Also, if you would like to speak, would you get a card from the clerk, and we'll follow as follow. There's nothing under the bids at this time. We're going to go with the agenda.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve consent agenda as approved. I didn't know if anybody needed anything pulled.
No.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Howes. All in favor?
Aye.
We're moving right along, so we're going straight to staff.
First item I have for you is.
This is,
Mr. Parker,
yeah,
check your mic, please, sir. Turn on. There you go.
this is for, Shane, not to cut you off, but this is for the EOC?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve as presented,
Second.
the change order for 14.
I need to abstain from this item as I've just gone to work for Clyde Johnson Contracting.
You over there full-time now, boss?
Not yet. I don't even have a start date, but I'm going.
All right.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Wills. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion stands. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, do we need to submit the Heartland Transportation Planning, TPO and FDOT? Do we need to submit that plan?
I'm sorry, say
We
that
need a
again.
motion for that?
Talking about the letter?
Yeah.
Yes, I need a,
I make a motion to approve the letter as presented to FDOT and the Heartland Transportation Planning Organization.
I'll second that motion. please.
Motion by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion stands.
thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you. Ms. Davis?
Yes, the item under my time, Shane,
Is that for
Yeah,
Johnson
it's still
Engineering
under-
with the
Right,
improvements on
835.
KT Grove and all of that, all the other roads?
2 segments of
Yes, sir.
835.
I make a motion to approve the contract with Johnson Engineering for the amount of $247,307.
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Iglesias. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion stands. Wow, that was a really fast agenda.
How about a legislative update? I say we put staff on. We got to do something. We can't have 3-minute meetings. So.
First of all, I want to say I'm sorry for the loss of your husband. Just want you to know we do acknowledge that, and they're going to continue to pray for Jennifer. We're going to go district by district, unless you do want to give us an update, Emily.
I was going to ask the question, but I mean, honestly, we can't have a
I would love,
5-minute meeting.
well, I mean, we are,
Because we're.
that's not up to us. I mean, it's, the
Think it'd be
agenda is
nice.
light, but I would like to know this from a Tallahassee perspective. Ms. Davis, could you bring us up to speed on the migrant housing, where we stand right now, and if we're needing to engage that a little bit more on a full frontal manner from us,
okay,
our help?
so right now, if I say anything incorrect, you can correct me, but right now, it's went through 2 Senate committees and 2 House committees. Last Thursday, it was on the agenda for the 3rd Senate committee, and it was temporarily postponed.
And still no amendment?
There was a title amendment, I believe, on the House and the Senate side. But from our analysis, it really didn't change much from a meaningful. The House amendment was a title amendment, and they deleted lines and added lines, and it was the same exact language.
Yeah.
On the Senate amendment, there was a little bit of verbiage change, but it really didn't change the
Did we
meaning.
submit what we thought was the appropriate language?
We did come up with some amendment language, and some of it was similar to what we had ended up with last year. We had a minimum acreage requirement of 50 acres. We did a larger 750 for the setback issue. We changed the big overarching issue is the definition of an agricultural worker. Right now, it includes folks that are not just in the H-2A program, in our opinion. Our county attorney did a legal memo analysis for the same that we have shared with all of our legislatures and different folks in Tallahassee. And so far, and quite frankly, and we've said this from a staff perspective, and I've said it to some of you, Matt, we were talking about it yesterday in our executive meeting, Matt and Shane and I really thought folks would really try to poke holes in it and say, oh, that's not right, and oh, no, that's not what that means, and so forth. And so far, no one has said that. Our lobbyists came back and said that they agreed with it. Other folks that have read it, they'll try to argue it till they go back and read it, and they come back and they're in agreement. I did get some feedback from the governor's office Thursday, and I felt good after that conversation. But so far, the last I checked earlier today, nothing's been scheduled for any more committees, and so we're kind of in a waiting game. Technically, it has to go to another House committee, another Senate committee, and, folks could show up and speak for or against it. We've talked to our small county lobbyists, and our lobbyists have some conflicts on this issue, so it's been a little difficult from that perspective, but
Well, I think
where
that's
we're
a big part of the problem, that everybody in Tallahassee has a conflict. I don't know, to be honest with you, from when we were up there, I just felt like from day one, the bill was written the way it was intended to. And-
Yeah, it wasn't
and
an
we-
accident,
And we
right?
figured, it's not an accident.
No.
By any means, it's not an accident.
No, they want to be able to take a cow pasture and or whatever they want, and they want to be able to put housing on it, and they don't want to have anybody be able to aggravate them about what they want to build.
That's exactly what.
I think the horses that are at play in this race are massive, and we can't comprehend.
Yeah,
You know,
there's no doubt.
yeah. And I mean, to their defense, I mean that's capitalism at its finest, right? And that's why they spend all those dollars to lobby and put people in the seats. The problem with that is that, to our county administrator's point, and to everybody that's been on the team, and Mr. Alderson, you did a masterful job of digging into that, and you and Jennifer, I think, really got way out in front of this. But I'm just afraid that horse has gotten out the barn, and I don't know if we're going to be able to turn the tide. And Jennifer, the point that you've made time and time again, and that our Senate president, who just happens to be our senator, agreed with you wholeheartedly, is that, it's the single largest investment that most, probably, I don't know what high percentage of the population is going to make, but your home is going to be the single largest investment that you make. And somebody can turn around and put up 300 humans next to you that you have no say over because they're on day one, and the state's preempting us. And it's a very sad situation, and I think we're going to see that occur a little bit. Our fear, I think, is that we're going to see this come into some of our established neighborhoods on properties that we have. I mean, Mr. Ridgel would never do it, but Mr. Ridgel could go to the Weak Horse property and put in barrack housing, and it would blow our mind what we would see out there, and we would have no ability to not have 600 people out there with the acres that they have, and that's in one of the most densely populated neighborhoods in all of the county, in the middle of Hooker's Point.
And it's not a one-size-fits-all. That's
No.
why we don't like the preemption.
Yeah.
So what might work in even another area of the state, because we understand there's other issues in other areas of the state, it can completely annihilate another area. And that's why you all are elected, because you know your area the best, and that's why it should stay local.
Yeah. And on a law enforcement standpoint, from the hospital standpoint, from an education standpoint, rural counties are gonna get hit bad, or could get hit bad.
But I think they will. I mean, I think it's not a could. I think it's they will, because you look at the edges of DeSoto County where they're supplying a workforce, or Hardy, better probably yet placed, to get over to, you know, all of the strawberry, all of the blueberry, all of the stuff that's coming in there, not to mention the traditional row crops that they have as season rolls. You know, that population is just going to be littered through there. And then we're going to have the same thing. And I mean, it's ironic that, and I'm not being critical of anyone in this room, but it's ironic to listen to the conversations of our large landholders, or let's use a better example. He is a large landholder, but Chuck Oberon and the gnashing of teeth that he's going through to get his housing set up, right? And I think he would have more of a disturbing conversation about the Florida Department of Health, which just happens to be branded in Hendry County, or Hendry Glades County for that matter. They probably gave him the most frustration. But regardless, we all get lumped into it together, right? We're all the bearers of bad news. But that's like the most ideal location for a migrant housing to occur, a migrant H2A camp to occur in our county. You know, back out that way, we would never have any issue with that whatsoever. I just go back to, I think that, you know, you look at Mr. McLeod's property, or you look at, you know, Mr. Original's property right there in the middle of Hooker's Point. You look at some of the stuff that's out there,
Wilson
man,
Inn.
overnight. And so
And-
the Cluson is a different animal, because it's not zoned A1. It's, you know, it's not an ag property, and their ability to do what they're doing there, we have some tools in the toolbox to be able to fight that. But they could saddle right up next to town and go to J.D. Thornton's nursery and have at it, you know? So it's
And if we win that battle this year,
Wild, Wild
the
West.
next Senate president's gonna ram it down our throat.
I think you might be right. You know?
However,
Yeah.
we'll have the same governor. And that's what I can't get my mind around, is our governor, as we all know, if we watch the news, he sent state troopers last week, right, to the border. And so it's really hard to contemplate that would be approved in this year. So every year's a new year. Things can change, and I'm sure there's lots of conversations we're not aware of and we're not a part of, but it's concerning.
Just one final point to this particular issue is, I think what you all discovered with regards to, it doesn't have to be a bona fide H2A intended person. I think that's one of those unintended consequences to what they were writing, what they were drafting. You know?
I think the issue was that last year, when Governor DeSantis was very forceful about people that have been in this country for X amount of years, sending them back, I can tell you that the legal workforce that travels throughout the country working said they're not coming back because they don't trust this governor, that they'll get grouped in by ICE and sent off before they can even defend themselves. So I think between the larger farmers, they're having an issue filling a workforce, and I think they created this, what we thought was an unintended consequence, but my heart is telling me that it was intended from day one.
It was intended, you can tell by the way it was written, but the H2A was just put in like an oversight.
Yeah.
To say, hey, we working with H2H, but it was intentionally, it wrote just like they wanted to read it.
No amendment, and listen, what our team has done with Matt and Emily and Jennifer, educating the people on what that language states and what a lawfully present person is within the United States. Every one of them said, no, we need to change that like now.
Yeah.
That they're having conversations with us, and that's all,
Stays in that vacuum.
That's it.
Yeah. No, I told you I had that impression the entire time we were up there, and I agree with you as it relates to that point. You know, you talk about ag, but the heavy construction industry is the same mindset.
Yeah.
You know, we can't get people. We cannot hire them. You know, and, you know, Shane, I don't know what your number is at Road and Bridge, but our numbers that what we're paying just base laborers will blow your mind right now. And it's not just at Quality Electric or Quality Dive. I mean, it's across the board. that we're seeing at all of our prime contractors. I mean, what Phillips and Jordan and, Johnson and Kiewit and, Harry Pepper, what they're paying people, it's mind-boggling, blue collar cats.
Just a comment to the point of the H2A. The question was asked in the first Senate committee hearing. Somebody asked the question and the answer came back, yes.
Senator
It was
Collins.
just for H2A. And that's not the case, the way it's written.
Read like that.
And so, and I know it goes without saying, and none of us have to say it out loud, but because we're having this conversation publicly, we support agriculture.
Absolutely.
We are agriculture, and we support agriculture, and we support
100%.
and understand that they need workers, and
Yep.
we support that. What we don't support is a preemption to where someone can come in and put housing on top of an established neighborhood without any say-so.
That's
It
exactly right.
belongs in, the appropriate area, and where that is, it's to be determined, right? When
Sure.
someone comes in, we've had people say, well, where's that area? Well, it's not up for us to, but there are inappropriate areas, I guess is the better way to say it. And so, we don't want to
The
come
Felda
across.
situation is a perfect example.
It's a perfect example, and I think too. I mean, that's the definition of what we're trying to avoid, and I think if you all drilled in on it, and please don't take offense to that statement, but I think you would be surprised at where our migrant housing is located right now. I think you would be shocked if you saw the actual map, and it's in established hoods, right? I mean, everywhere.
cities,
That's exactly right. So you already know, Commissioner Wills. And people say, well, so are you against that? I'm not necessarily against it, but I will tell you, some of those are not located in places that they need to be. And some of those owners are making, listen to me, tens of thousands of dollars a month in those facilities that they have right now. They're doing that. And is that shame on them? Absolutely not. They're in the game and they're winning. So, they're
They're
getting
doing it
after
legal.
They're doing it, So, yeah. I know one other item that is catching a lot of speed. I don't know if any of y'all have spoke on it. I'm not speaking on it just because I don't want to be too big of a hypocrite. Where does commissioner term limits stand right now? Have y'all heard any update?
So I got a little update from Commissioner Terry Burrows from Okeechobee just a little while ago that he sent to the Small County Coalition, which states, as of January 2022, the Florida legislature does not have the authority to impose term limits on county commissioners without a constitutional referendum. If I'm not mistaken, that's where Salzman started at, right? And then she pulled it? I might be wrong. Correct. Yeah. And then it says, any changes to term limits for county commissioners would likely require an amendment to the Florida Constitution, which typically involves a ballot referendum for voters to approve or reject the proposed amendment. This process ensures that any significant changes to the structure of local government are made with the input and approval of the electorate. So I've had conversations with all kinds of people, and the reality is this. When you ask someone if they are in favor of term limits, the first thing they do is say yes. But in reality, what they're thinking about is our federal government and what they do at that level. I've spoken to senators and House representatives, and I've told them, I said, listen, you guys are, to me, career politicians. You want to be a House representative for 8 years, you want to be a senator, and then you're going to move on to another office. The reality is, for me, within my county, and I'm sure everyone at this diocese thinks the same way, we are here to represent the people of our county, and we do not have any political aspirations. And I even went on to say to Representative Mello, I said, when you go out and call your county and go out to eat within your community, no one really knows you. If you go to a real estate event because you're a realtor, then you're going to run into some people. But I go on a day date with my wife to the Common Grounds, and I have 5 constituents that talk to me within an hour's time. Can I ignore them? Absolutely not. That's what I got elected for. But I can tell you this, as long as I'm doing a good job, I don't deserve to get fired. The voters have the right to put me in office or take me out of office. And that, to me, is what's right. So that's that. Now, tomorrow it goes before committee on the House side and the Senate side simultaneously, Carson. They don't want Chris Dillon at both meetings. So they're going to have them at the same time. I intend that it's going to pass. They moved it from 8 years to 12 years, and now the word on the street is that Salzman's going to pull another amendment.
The House bill was just amended to fit back.
8 years.
They pulled it back to 8.
Pulled it back to 8 years. So it's a trust factor. So I can tell you that it's coming from the top of leadership. So people that are in our circles that we would think won't support it will support it because of that.
Will
It's pol-
support it being in favor of term limits.
Correct, because it's political suicide for them at leadership level.
Some of the commissioners that I spoke to in Tallahassee was stating that a lot of them wanted to happen because they're coming out of office and they want to go into a different side of office. And that's part of the reason, so they can, run a different office like far as commissioners go, because they're coming out the office.
So Mitchell, Jennifer, you've been in leadership. Have you ever just walked in the office and looked at somebody that's worked for you for 15 years and say, pack up your stuff, you're done? Well, why? You've been here 15 years. You're doing a great job, but it's time for you to go. I mean, just think about how absurd that is. As long as we have fresh ideas, and as long as we're doing a good job, as long as the voters want us here, I think that they have the right to tell us that we stay.
Well, I think the adverse to that would be that's where you have staff that is doing a stellar job and is in the positions to carry on the policy making of this board.
Sure, I agree.
And so I think that change is inevitable and B, good. And I don't know what year it was. Were you on the board when we did the it wasn't a referendum. It was a straw ballot or a straw poll. I can't remember what it was, but we changed it up in the 11th hour.
For the districts?
Yes. No, not for single member districts, for term limits and countywide. Could we research that and bring that back to the board?
It was a year before, that was a term before Ms. Bird and I were elected.
Okay. I'd love to bring that back. Are any of y'all familiar with that, what I'm talking about right now?
When they wanted us to,
I can't remember.
But
I
you've been
honestly
running
can't remember,
countywide.
Ms. Bird. I'm a little bit embarrassed right now if it was
it was before the.
countywide or if it was a discussion about term limits, and I
It
want
was
to
about
say.
countywide.
I thought it was countywide.
It was
Okay.
For
countywide.
districts.
Okay.
It was
districts.
countywide voting.
Okay. Okay.
Commissioner Davis.
Davis pushed it,
Yes.
wasn't it? Because I remember him and Commissioner Harris got mad at each other, and I had to separate them. And it wasn't that hard because they were older and weaker. And but I just remember it good. I remember they were hot, so I would love to see how that went. And I remember Ms. Hoots had heartburn about how we put it on the ballot. Do you remember that, Ms. Barano? Do you remember that? I remember Ms. Hoots was worried because the language, and then I can still hear Commissioner Harris, well, we shouldn't do it then. If it's gonna be $50,000, we don't need to do it. We ain't got the money. And then Commissioner Davis lost it and was like, it doesn't cost $50,000. We can write the dang thing ourselves. And all of that happened in an Explorer. No, I'm kidding. No, that was right here or either in LaBelle. But I remember, boy, they were hot with each other. It was a good conversation. So, yeah, I'd love to see where that landed with us. And I want to say it was like 67%. I mean, it passed overwhelmingly.
It passed.
And it died quietly. It was
Yeah.
really weird and odd. And I say that because I think, to your point, if you put this on a straw ballot to our constituents, it's going to pass overwhelmingly that they're in favor of term limits because everyone is bitter with politicians, right? When they turn on Fox or they turn on CNN, everybody's doing their job incorrectly. And they don't listen to the points that you're making, Commissioner Iglesias.
Defend that locally is what I'm saying.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think you could.
The Florida Constitution provides for non-charter counties, basically the outline of what the county commission can be, and that doesn't set any term limits. That would be the challenge. That would be the court challenge if it were to pass.
Yes, sir. For
And
non-charter.
Highlands County asked, similarly, they had proposed the county commission wanted to set their own term limits, and they requested attorney general opinion, and the attorney general said that's not constitutional for the county commission to set their own term limits based upon the same section of the Florida Constitution. So,
Which is ironic because I think Lee County is not a charter county, and they did set term limits based on, But it's neither here nor there. We don't need to beat the horse. I would love
I can
to
tell
look.
you there's
11.
a number of counties.
11. There's 11 charter counties. One of the things too in the language on this new that you're hearing, the new effort is they want to limit the charter counties that have it at 12. They want to limit them to 8 as well. I did read that specifically. Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Rawson, is wheels in motion for a lawsuit if it does pass?
I'm sure it would be challenged. And the Florida Association of Counties has a statement out about it as well, basically saying the same thing.
Yeah, Salzman's goal is to, when she gets done with the county commissioners, her goal is to hit constitutional officers, except for sheriff by the time she leaves office. At least that's what's being said in
Mr.
Tallahassee.
Iglesias, where?
Why
where-
not do it all at one time?
Where did the rub happen? Does anybody know? I know where it happened in the school board discussion.
I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Honestly, I think it's just a party issue.
Yeah. Madam Chair, my only other item that I wanted to discuss was I want the green light from you all to be able to engage staff on asking them and then having y'all prepare a report for us, showing us the dollars and cents that we receive from Central Florida Behavioral Health Network and what our umbrella of services look like. Just a one pager, Ms. Davis, and once again, I mean, y'all are very familiar with the conversations that I've had as of late, but I would love to know, as we present that to the public, what does our umbrella of services supposedly look like? So, and I would love for us to all be educated on that. And then if we have to, we need to address some policies there. Oh, last thing.
You said that.
Last of the last. How about a shout out to the Hendry County Fair show the other night? That sale was absurd, Miss Bird, and they're gonna turn right back around and blow it out of the water at LaBelle, and then we're gonna turn right back around and blow it out of the water at Challenger. It's gonna be crazy. And our sheriff was there. He had actually been in Miami earlier that day, and he ran down the villains that stole Mr. Ridgedal's dump truck. He tased 6 people, yes, and got a $260,000 dump truck back.
That's awesome.
And, and then he went to the show and took bids.
That's awesome.
There was a little bit of that was embellished.
Is that
but
why
for
he
the
was so
most
quiet
part-
there? Because I expected him to be louder.
Chief Deputy, I didn't even know you were here. You could have gave us the update, but we did get the truck back. How awesome is that?
That's awesome.
The-
Out of curiosity, any flock cameras help?
I don't know. I'll let them tell us.
Yeah?
They
That's
did?
awesome.
How incredible.
That's awesome.
That's nuts, man. Y'all realize that? A truck got stolen in Clewiston at 8-ish in the evening, and it got brought back to Clewiston. It didn't get in a container. It didn't go to Central or South America. It's all in one piece. I'm dumbfounded.
So when are you gonna release the body cams?
It's so incredible. Sheriff, man.
That's awesome. That's great.
It's awesome.
We're gonna go district by, we're gonna skip over him, but we're going district by district.
We're just
start
going
with
to, you want to go back in reverse order?
We just gonna cut him off, that's all.
Shane, couple things. Thank you for the potholes on 833 getting taken care of, and thank you for meeting with Country Village. I got a call from Mr. Crump and Ed, and they were very satisfied. Matt, any update from Barron Waters' attorney? No reply yet, huh?
I did email him.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna reach out to Mr. House tomorrow just to let him know that.
Mr. House and his attorney were copied on our last.
Yeah, I just want to let him know that we're still waiting for a response, just so he knows. Okay, that's all I got.
Wow,
Make it simple.
Commissioner Howell.
Madam Chair, we have had quite a effort to try to get some streetlights repaired through FPNL. They did reach out today with another email to say, hey, we're going to try to get this done, but we've passed several deadlines. Multiple work orders have been submitted, and a lot of phone calls to Commissioner Wills and myself wanting those streetlights repaired. So I just hope that FPNL will step up the game a little bit, and,
They hear you.
Appreciate it.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, they've been challenging for us in Country Village as well, so it's a
Yeah,
bit mind-blowing. They're good about sending their bills out, but they're not good
Yeah.
about communicating.
yeah. I understand. They've been under the gun with Hurricane Ian and all the work that they've been doing, but this is just getting to a point where we have nothing to say back to our constituents when they're calling and complaining that they can't see an intersection because the light's out. So, thank you, Madam Chair.
You're more than welcome, Commissioner Wills.
Commissioner Howard just covered the lights, so it's not just that one light, it's quite a few. At least you got an email back. I've got no response from Charlotte Miller or Bryce Bixby.
Well, Tommy got
I've
it.
left voicemails, and I've sent emails and voicemails, so it's kind of concerning that they don't at least respond.
Well,
You know, I don't want to sound insensitive. There was a hurricane, a lot of people lost life and home, but you don't turn your back on your other folks as well. We are right across the county line. They need to be there taking care of our situations just as much as anywhere else, so. I don't have a lot tonight. That was it. I know we have some stuff going on throughout Felda that we're talking about. You got the email back on that. I read that email. Did you get the one tonight? I got the one tonight, a new update on that. I am gonna ask, I'm gonna bug you, Shane, gonna bug you and bug you and bug you. I got a constituent reaching out in Wheeler Estates to see where we are as far as right-of-ways. They're curious how much, how close we are to getting the right-of-ways we need to begin with. And the second part of it, I believe that you and Mr. Swindle worked out a bus turnaround in that area that was identified and it is gonna work.
Start with the last half, the bus turnaround.
Move the mic.
I got this one right
Oh,
here. So when you get to 16th Terrace and go across Wheeler Road, that little paved intersection, the county owns the second lot in to the right. So we took millings and built a turnaround on our lot and I talked to Mr. Busen and he said it works fine.
Okay, perfect. 'Cause at one point, I don't know how many people's aware of it, they were taking their children out to Highway 80. That's where the bus was picking them up, so, we're progressing in that area, and hopefully we'll keep going that way. As far as the right-of-way,
Kate
where
English
we at?
called me last week. I haven't had a chance to call her back. I think it was Friday. She was looking at it just said Wheeler Road easements is all it was. So I'm assuming it's about her client. So I owe her a call back tomorrow, but that was it.
Okay, I appreciate it, Mr. Parker. That's all, Ms. Bird.
Thank you, Commissioner Wills. Commissioner Turner, when we have service, we give them 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes, son.
I'm done.
Well, I want to thank the county workers. We had a lot of things going on in Harlem area. I just can't get it over me when people dump trash in other people's property.
Blows your mind.
It
What's the
really
logic?
blows. I don't get it, because if they dump the trash in there where they live, they will pick it up if you put a little bit out at a time, but they have a habit of putting it on other people's property. We can't do it all the time, but I appreciate your help, trying to help this gentleman. And he's a senior citizen and, but, people do what they do. But I appreciate your help. Want to say thank you. Any other comments?